told me back in 2022. So let us hope that Peskov remembers that. All right, so we're going to stop this bit about nuclear weapons and take a quick break and talk about the lengthening tails of military intervention. We see what's going on in Venezuela in the Western Hemisphere, but Trump this weekend said that he might intervene in Nigeria. Why? We'll be back. Right, we're back, Jamie and I, and we want to discuss something kind of extraordinary, although I don't know how to define extraordinary anymore in this era. But after the ramping up and the continued military intervention around Venezuela against drug traffickers, according to Donald Trump and his administration, this weekend he announced that he would militarily intervene in Nigeria, one of the most populous and either the first or second economy in Africa, if the government there did not stop what Trump said were the anti-Christian attacks. So this really, really upset, put the cat among the pigeons. Nigerians couldn't understand what's going on. Jamie, I just happened to have been talking today at a CNN event to the former Nigerian finance minister, Dr. Ngozi, and she is now the head of the World Trade Organization. So, of course, I had to ask her that question, and she really didn't want to answer it because she said, this is a very, very sensitive topic. We do not know what it means. We do not know where it came from. She admitted to me, as we all know, that there are, they're Christians, they're Muslims, there are all sorts of multi-faiths, they're tribes, they're different areas geographically and the otherwise competition over resources. She said, yeah, we are not a perfect society, but we have to, get to the bottom of this and deal with it ourselves. And we are trying to do so. So you surprised, Jamie, when you heard that?
No, and I'm never surprised by Trump anymore. Look, I don't think we're going to use military power in Nigeria. I think that Trump sees the world the way we've described, which is that he really can do whatever he wants in his own backyard. This is Trump's thinking. Putin has, Eurasia. China has Asia, and I have Western Hemisphere. What's in the issue
Jamie
now
Rubin?
is that no, Trump. I'm saying Trump. Africa is up for grabs. So I think he's happy to pose some threats out there, and which are very, very involved. But what it brings up is that, as a book once called it, there's a scramble for Africa between the United States, China, Russia, the United Arab Emirates, this tiny little Arab country which has a lot of money. And I think we both pointed out that they've been behaving in very pernicious ways by supporting the worst actors in Sudan, which has led to the worsening of the civil war there, which is leading to real tragedy for the people of Sudan. And I think the United States, Russia, and China are all doing what they can try to grab something in Africa, because it's not in one of those spheres of influence, and that it's up for grabs. Fortunately for the people of Africa, the war in Ukraine has limited Russia's capability. The Wagner group disintegrated, and Russia's trying to revive it, but that was doing horrible things inside Africa. They were getting paid by leaders and then, actually murdering civilians, claiming to be fighting terrorism, but basically just trying to get money from African governments. That capability is reduced, but China's going big time into Africa.
Yeah, and has been for decades.
Absolutely. And the United States is, sort of on the back foot, because remember, President Trump in his first term described what he thought of the people of Africa and other countries that were not white in some rather nasty language. And I think it takes a lot of effort for the Trump administration to actually focus on Africa and care about Africa and try to do something about it. Because let's face it, what they've done is destroy the one tool that has made America great in Africa. Think about that, what I just said, making America
USAID.
Great in Africa, which is through the Agency for International Development, the great PEPFAR program that saved millions of lives from AIDS, the great health programs that have been eliminating tuberculosis and other diseases. All of that was wiped out by the richest man in the world, Elon Musk, in some act of, I don't know what he called it, putting it in the wood chipper. He thought it was funny. And that has damaged our reputation in Africa.
Guess what's happening?
Damaged it.
I heard at this summit, actually Chinese are just stepping right in. They say, turn to us, we'll be your good Samaritan. Now we understand that they don't do soft power like the United States does. It's very, very transactional. And often they do these huge infrastructure projects. They import all their workers. It's not like they give a lot back to the African economy and they get a lot of control. But interestingly, Dr. Ngozi, a former Nigerian foreign and finance minister and current WTO minister, said that it's a big mistake for the US and other democratic countries and serious economies not to look at Africa and all the different economies and countries that exist there with all their different strengths and challenges like infrastructure, like corruption, like all those things that they have to, clearly deal with. But she said, look, suddenly rare earths are the nom du jour. I mean, everybody can't stop talking about rare earths. She said Africa has at least 30% of the world's rare earth minerals. And then she said it has between 60 and 70% of the world's arable land. So, and manufacturing and other such things. So it's a very important marketplace. And, she said kind of what you said, that don't just look at Africa as a bunch of shithole countries. And I'm quoting President Trump. That is not my view. And let's actually get together and create something really good and strong and beneficial, and don't cede Africa.
The DRC, the Democratic Republic of Congo.
That prime minister was there. It's a woman. She speaks French.
Right. And the president there, has been back and forth working with the United States. They have real mineral capabilities. They have extraordinary resources. They have terrible infrastructure, and that needs to be built. But I think if we were doing this right, we would be building our support inside Africa with soft power like AID and all the other programs. But meanwhile, getting investments going so that we could pull rare earths from the ground and then produce them somewhere. Because remember, what China does have a monopoly on practically is production of rare earths. They have something like 90%, but there's many other critical minerals that are in that category that could hold up the world's economy, many of which zinc, cobalt, all of these, lithium, all of these capabilities are in Africa, and we should be helping them grow and helping ourselves and protecting ourselves from China using economic coercion against all of us. And instead, we're threatening to invade Nigeria, which of course we're not going to do.
Yeah. So are you, I won't say we, going to invade Venezuela? Now, I heard a very interesting analysis, because this just keeps carrying on. There's a huge number of warships off the coast, according to various diagrams and satellite pictures that we get to see. This former government official, and I think he was in the Bush administration, he said a couple of things. This is both domestic and foreign policy for this Trump administration. Domestic policy to show that they're cracking down on the drugs coming into the United States. But he said the problem there, going all the way back to Richard Nixon and the war on drugs, is that it's always trying to attack the production and the source rather than the pull factor and the market for drugs in the United States. So that's one, difficult and cognitive dissonance, if you like, there. Then he said all the ships could also giving a signal to, let's say, the Venezuelan military, if they wanted to take this signal, that if they perform.
So, welcome. Those two witches who are joining me. Please like and share. Nothing new. If you are regular on this on Serious platform, you understand that nothing new here anymore. But it's interesting how they gloss over the whole thing, but never really spend time talking about focus of this. 2-3 minute interaction was pretty much on resources, right? And how it was easy then, man. That's how they're trying to make it sound with the USAID, soft power, right? And never spend time they talk about the Christian, the people who are there and all that kind of thing. No, that one now, that propaganda is, as a set is on his own. Don't take his own form already. right? So now they are now paying attention to the signals. That one are noise. It's propaganda. Doesn't mean that people are not dying. But to put it that route, Christian genocide is just to, so that takes shape of divide the whole country. Patrioticness is at stake. I mean, all sorts of shit. Don't follow that one, they go. So now if you dig deeper, I begin to see the real reason, right? Which is the resources and the means on how to get it. Of course, they end up saying Nigeria will not be invaded. But pay attention to how they will talk about Venezuela because it's the same fucking shit. That the same thing where they want from us, not that they want from Venezuela. But just look at how the Venezuela case one will be discussed.
Coup against Maduro, that the US would be right there offshore, ready to hop over to help them if
And
they
remember,
needed it.
meanwhile,
What now? I wasn't sure if this Christian Amanpop video was AI generated. This is insane. No. Husband and wife now. They are CNN, so so now it's not AI. This is the real conversation. You know, say to those who know us for Dr. Damage's show, when we talk at the ticket, we are conspiracy theorists and we don't know what we are talking about. Forget Christian and Muslim. Now today Christian and Muslim depend for Nigeria. That's not their business. You know, that's not the point. The point they understand that is the only thing that will catch 99% attention of the people. Because the goal of government is to render to make sure the people are dumb, stupid, and don't know how things work. So that's why even the selected intellectuals that will come on the media is to make the whole system so complicated, as if it's out of the reach of majority. And a few people supposed to govern. So we have to make sure keep the majority noise, the blessing them, the eccentric them. You guys are noise makers, so they keep on busy, right? That's how it works. So they throw and saying that Christian genocide and the whole country just wow, everybody we don't compromise, begin speak. But forgetting that the real deal is how they will survive. Religion is not, no religion they make them survive. Production, resources, however you want them. I'm not just getting it for now, tomorrow. But anyway, Mogul, let's listen to how they're talking about Maduro and Venezuela. Then you compare it to how they talk about Nigeria situation. Again, at the same thing. What they want in Nigeria is what they want in Venezuela. They no fit paint them as they no fit use a religion connotation for that one because those ones no. I think religiously, I think the majority of them are one or something, but that's not their problem. Democracy is the problem right there. They say the guy is a dictator. So the phrase, to invade Venezuela, they said he's a dictator. But let's get it cracking.
Trump is talking publicly about the supposed CIA covert operation,
Right.
which isn't very covert if he's talking about it. And I think they're essentially trying to bluff their way to success. In other words, have a lot of ships, perhaps attack some of the Venezuelan anti-aircraft systems, send a message to the military, we'll work with you, and have the CIA presumably trying to penetrate the Venezuelan military and convincing them to conduct a coup. The problem is Maduro comes out of the Venezuelan military, and Chavez before him came out of the Venezuelan military. They've been preparing this for years. They've turned their economy into crypto economy so that sanctions can't work. I'm very, very worried that we're spending all of our energy, our military, economic, and political energies trying to bluff our way into regime change in Venezuela, when the only way to get regime change in Venezuela is to actually invade, like we did back with Manuel Noriega in the
totally
first
different,
Bush
though.
administration. But
much smaller. There were U.S. bases there, U.S. military, and totally different.
Now, una dey see so because everything na stage, right? That stage. The Maduro situation don't dey on emotion. for a minute. So they started the guy a dictator and all that kind of stuff. So that one no work. Now it's time to go indirect. You see the language that they use? Let's blow some of their warship or airplane ship and just blow them up. But the easiest way to change regime change is to attack them. Now, let's assume the propaganda, the Christian genocide propaganda no work, right? No work in the sense that our leaders are still not giving in to whatever they're asking for. The next thing to say, okay, no, Bola Tinubu is too corrupt. He's too corrupt. There's no way we can allow him come back, right? The pressure could be on, just like Jonathan. The pressure could be on from everywhere. They will turn their infrastructure on ground now. And if Bola Tinubu win again, I don't finish. Then they will get to this stage. How they will take him out? There will be a kind of this kind of language. Let's hit at Borno where the terrorists are hiding. Borno to where lithium resources not too far. Let's go there, attack them. They say, oh, it is because of the Nigerian oil that they're keeping the Bola Tinubu in power. So let's attack some of their sheep. And these same people, you go see how I talk out. Unless our leaders give in, before I get to that stage, because now stage by stage, you trust your intuition. You say you talk KJ is an agent. Are you not an agent? Eccentric. Are you not an agent? You're in Nigeria, in America. You're an agent. Just that they never activate you yet. When you are needed, you'll be activated. All right. So don't worry. when they talk and say all of us are all compromised, the revolution that when I look for, no will come from all these in diasporans. Bless you, say, eccentric. Your thoughts on KJ at that thought during our conversation last week on Elite on this channel. And I asked of you in the passing, and we laugh over it. Okay, so we are all agents. We that live in diaspora. It's just not time. Blessed. When you are needed, they go activate you. This way. Well, when they speak English, when they happy. It's very easy to activate now. We are all compromised motherfuckers. It's a good luck with activating me. I am a rebel and a communist. Okay, we see. Don't worry. When you matter, right? When you matter, when they see where you can be useful, right? You will see. That time you will choose right now. You are now if you just look through your window, right, either from your office or from your house, you'll be seeing Bill Gates house, right? You guys share the same coffee shop, the same grocery store and that kind of stuff. When the time reach, you have to make that choice, or maybe you go to share coffee. Who you go share coffee yourself? Who they will allow you go share coffee with Nnamdi? Nnamdi Kanu might be your neighbor at that time. No, that would be too luxury, man. That would be too luxury of a neighbor to have when the time comes. But we'll see. We'll see. Blessed, there's something there. This guy. What do you mean there's something there now? KJ is a journalist. Abi, I wouldn't want to say he was. He is a journalist. So, anyway, we'll finish Venezuela. This is we're getting to this stage.
This is 10 times harder, 100 times harder, 1,000 times harder, and it's not likely to happen, in my opinion. So instead, we're going to be embarrassed. And this is what's so amazing to me. Trump had been given a great offer by Maduro. They were going to kick the Chinese out, kick the Iranians out, and offer the United States preferential access to their oil, other facilities, and gold. This is the kind of deal Donald Trump usually likes. And all we had to do was lift sanctions. That's it. We didn't have to like Maduro. We didn't have to work with him. We didn't have to praise him. We could still be in favor of a democratic process, but we would get all the benefits. And why he's not doing that, I don't know.
Well,
Speculation.
you speculate.
You know, I was saying yesterday, say somebody go win. Americans, they've said it at the beginning of this back and forth. There's nothing like you are neutral, or no, it's either you are with us or you are against us. It's as simple as that. This one not be saying that conspiracy. It's written. If you search hard enough, you go see and see the right hand somewhere. They don't. They know they. So at the end of the day, that would be the same choice before our leaders, right? Before our leaders, kick the Chinese out, kick the Saudi Arabia out, because nobody's talking about that enough. The struggle over our resources is between America, China, Saudi Arabia, UAE. You know, there's a lot of money being pumped from UAE into the West African space. They invested in media, they invested in all this telecommunication via third parties. They are coming via Indian company, they are coming via Chinese company. So now their money just the work. I think I've talked about this before, you know, a couple of months back. So when push comes to shove, that's the choice before you motherfuckers. Kick the Chinese out, kick the UAE, kick everybody kickable out. Or else, at that point, it doesn't matter what you offer, no deal. You give them 100% access to your resources. That's not the point. We don't share. This is not the time to share. You can see if you pay attention to the rhetoric from our leaders from north, south, and east and west, you can tell where everybody stands. It's an interesting time. So let's continue. Then before we bring the Bob Marley prophecy aspect of it to bear. It is easier said than done. It is easier said than done. Well, they say the person will want thief something for you. Know you better. He knows what's dear to your heart. You know what you can easily give in for. They know.
About Rubio because he's taken over the
Yes.
policy. And actually, this analyst, former government official, said it's an obsession of Rubio's. He used that word. As we know, Rubio is the son of immigrants from Cuba, and they want to, and so does the Cuban American diaspora, wants to get rid of the Castro regime, communist Cuba. And according to this analyst, and this has been the sort of raison d'etre for many attempts to destabilize, whether it was Chavez and now Maduro, the fall of Venezuela would, in their view, inevitably lead to the fall of Cuba.
Even so, it's not worth the United States putting all their prestige, all their money, all their resources to try to achieve something we probably can't do. And if we could do, we'd have to own Venezuela. Remember, if you break it, you own it. If we were to invade this country and try to overthrow it, we'd be responsible for all the consequences. Instead, let's let the Venezuelan people solve their own problems, but get a preferential deal for the United States. That is where we get the better deal, because it's not our responsibility to.
You see the grammar where then they use preferential, better deal. Those are political language. Well, what constitutes a better deal or preferential? Is it 90% access to the resources, 100% or 50-50? What is it? So it's an open check, my brother. They are saying, just give us, then we will tell you what you deserve. And however you want to spend that, that's on you, motherfuckers.
Know who's in charge of every government. Remember, what infuriates Rubio is that Chavez, Maduro's mentor, was elected democratically a couple of times.
But then became very undemocratic.
Then he became undemocratic. Absolutely. My point here is that we should do what's right for the United States so that in we can make America stronger and have the respect of our neighbors in the region by not trying to overthrow regimes and keep the United States focused on the real threats to our world, which are emanating, as you know, I think, from Beijing and Moscow.
And by the way, and we don't have time to discuss it, but apparently Maduro is begging Russia and China for help. Whether they will or not, we'll see. So let's end that segment right then. When we come back, we'll have our recommendations.
Now, you see how the same people talk the same situation, but two different, the approach and two different. The only difference there is that our time, right? It's just the time. The only difference is the time. The Venezuela situation has been in play for a minute. All right, so we just get the beginning. They started with the guy is not democratic. He's a dictator, right? And that one is not working. Now it's time to go all in. So now they don't come with us saying Christian genocide, right? If you know work, they'll go after the president himself, say you know go win. It's not democratic. It's still the presidency. But after all, there are so many evidence to use against him that it's still the presidency, right? Going. So, and again, if you pay attention to the Obi angle, you know, right? If you pay attention, because now in a power struggle now, if you pay attention to the Obi angle, I talked about how they assembled themselves in Ghana with a good luck democracy dialogue or something. And the whole conversation was democracy don't die. And I responded, who kill him? So I don't know if the Obi movement will abandon the capitalist angle, you know, even though it was trying to color it with socialism during his campaign, from production to consumption and all that kind of crap. I think they are pivoting towards democracy. You know, how they want to use democracy, right? And see if it's going to work against this set of elites in case they're not agree give in. So just step by step, and if that democracy angle, you know, work, the gun blazing will be the next, as a Meduri the receiver now. Will be interesting. Yeah, that new come for sure, all of them. So you say you will not be useful because they've already got a KJ. All you need to, I think, where you are wrong and right at the same time is that look, you and AJ know, you and KJ know they're the same generation. So even though you're not really the same generation, so if you believe that KJ and agents, KJ is useful for his own generation. So when time come to look for agent, to activate agent among your generation, then we can have that conversation. All right, either you are useful or not. Now let's go to the menu of the goddamn day, which is where which is where one of our holy prophets, Prophet Bob Marley himself, where we'll go to the book of Survival. And we'll read from Ambush in the Night. Ambush in the Night is where we get into. So, to my fellow comrades, power to eccentric. So I don't know. Yes, I think George is here. Everybody there now. When I mean everybody, we are all partner in crime, moving from Dr. Dameji to here. I've used this quotes so many times. Ambush in the night. Remember the first person I used it on was during OB. I said when this ADC was at the peak of his their nonsense, their distraction. I said this is ambush. If Obi no greed join them, last everybody will turn their grinding machine on Obi, they will fire and back from people that you never expected. Even this is before Kenneth even jump ship. That Obi will be Obi be the target for 2027. It's not about Tinubu. The North goal come 2027 is to kill the Obi presidential ambition. Whatever that represents, it has to die. But are they going to succeed? This is where we are. So I use that. And I remember, some of the guests will come to, I think is this one now, the Fatherless People author. I say, come, this is we are busy struggling for power, celebrating the death of a USA ID. I said, no, you guys are all getting it wrong, man. You guys don't understand the times that we are in. This power, they find so go get up. It will be like a hot pepper for our hand, right? Bola Tinubu ready to starve his neighbor to death because he wants to be president, right? He was ready to split the country into two along religious line, Muslim ticket. He all succeeded, but it's time now to face the consequences because those same things are going to be used against him in 2027. Are they going to work me or more? I don't know. But our holy prophets, Prophet Bob Marley, in his text, if you go to the book of survival, you will see where ambush is. Welcome, Naija man, to today's shrine. But Obi don't have any political value, I beg again. You guys now need to understand. You guys are too they pay attention to noise. Now my problem with that. Not to they pay attention to noise. Eh? If Una believes a Christian genocide, who be Una leader? Who be Una leader? Who be Obi? Eh? This whole propaganda, this whole noise about the Christian genocide is heavily going to favor Obi. Heavily, already the country is split into two. So I don't know why Una say because Obi never announced his party. Una say nah. Don't worry. Moguna is that patient. I don't know how to read it. Una they pay attention to noise. Obi is coming. You will surprise. All this noise. So who do you think is in the favor? So the country is already split into two again. Muslim. This time around now, Obi be the hide saying no be Christian candidate. The hide they made phone call. Now he can do it boldly. So the field is wide open. We never see anything. So anyone that think Obi is not in play should be patient. Make it patient. It go shock Una. It go shock Una. So I'm always spot on. I might be spot on. It's eccentric. This is politics. This is not this is power game. This is I go say make Obi say Obi no easy. Who's in the play? There's no other. What you go to talk now is that who is in the play in the north? Because this Christian, this genocide don't shut all of them up in the north. Who's in the play in the north? Atiku? It's quiet. The only person that I know is going to come out like a white fire and a pantami. Not for 2027, of course. So we're going to pay attention to signals. Forget all this noise. Nobody right now is at play again in the north. All of a sudden, even the Cocos who are trying to make an attempt, they hammer on. They tell us it was a signatory to defamation, capital punishment for defamation, right? Shut up. So you should pay attention. Pay attention. Open know they follow this noise. Follow the players, right? Sultan, they move from don't look at Abuja. You don't look at Abuja, Abi. Don't worry, my friend. Don't worry. Oh, you guys should pay attention. But Obi was also not given $1 change in 2023. What do you mean Obi was not giving dollar change? And it really indeed shock us. Go shock una. Everybody for not quite article. I'm not surprised here, Paul. This is an opportunity to just go go viral with the Christian genocide everything. Either you come against it or you go against it or you then neutral. But they're quiet. Why? Because no matter what you talk now, political machinery are already in action. They go twist down. That's why they were able to shut Konkoso up. Before I even finish in statement, they tell us, they come. We are coming for you. So everybody, all the northern political actors now are just bossed to the corner. All of them, they think because this, as I said it before, that 2027 is about two things. One, how to end Obi presidential ambition, and two, who is going to be the consensus candidate from the north, right? So that's why you see, say everybody, Konkoso wanted to like take the lead. No, now they say, come on, shut up, try again. So, and if okay, then again, Obi has actually uttered his own statement about this thing. How was he received? You know, there's no, even those who are in position to twist it, Mbano, they are busy. The Boala them, the Reno them, they are all busy. They don't give them assignment. They are busy defending. They don't get time for Obi again. So there's a game. There's a game at play. So you should just keep following. Follow us here. We're already ahead. JD Vance is going to meet Atiku. That's in Brazil. You see, JD Vance now start this campaign. People they talk saying Ted Cruz be man. Now lie. If you go back to the inauguration week, the first speech given by JD Vance in Europe, I talked about it here. It specifically mentioned Nigeria. It mentioned the Catholic movement and the persecution of Christians, not just in Nigeria, but even in Britain. So it was very, these words were, I did talk at that time, but people, I don't know, it too like noise. So if he's meeting Atiku, let's see what is going to come and let's see what is going to come out. But you say Atiku, where they want to go meet in the first place? I was thinking about Shetima because I think they're in Brazil right now. Anyway, let's come back to Prophet Marley. So in 1979, 1979, many things happened. Civil war is just the end for Nigeria. Assassination everywhere, even in Jamaica, you know. So the Cold War was at its peak, you know, the whole world. So all these our foolish leaders were busy still fighting for power, but not knowing that there's more than that is happening or coming to them. So it started by seeing them fighting for power, but they know not the hour. Does that sound like does that speak to our situation in Nigeria? The so-called leaders are busy scheming to be in power, right? But they don't understand the hours. I won't say they don't understand, because if they don't know, now they say we are done already finished, even though we are finished. So, and it continues, say, so they bribing with guns, spare parts, and money, trying to belittle our integrity. Does that place sound like Anambra? This phrase right here. Does this sound like what happened or still happening in Anambra? Moku forget Edo, forget 2023, forget nah. When they are bribing people with guns, buy guns for people to scare fear, spare parts, with them. Money was exchanging out just to belittle. What they had to belittle was because was carried out by a professor, the best of the best, according to judge them and the rest of them will say, my excellence governor knows how to speak English. So if my governor, they do them, okay, because that's what is expected from an illiterate, you know. Okay, but a professor was doing it. The whole point is to belittle us, to belittle our integrity. So the guy was speaking, this was 1979. But he spoke to exactly today. He continues. Say, they say what we know is just what they teach us. And we are so ignorant. Somebody should say, this is a lie. No, they are not just saying what we know is what they teach us. We they display them every day that all we actually know is what they are teaching us. That's why a lot of us have sold our common sense to education, thinking that is the way. Prophet Marley continues. He says, because every time they can reach us, right? I was talking about it yesterday on the Dr. Damage that we are hoping we don't get secret. Our leader don't get secret, and that is because of the disagreement between them, whatever they are fighting for. Where Igbo one lead, Yoruba one lead, Fulani one, everybody one lead. So they have opened their hearts out for everybody to finger. So you're easily to now reach us from everywhere, from through pastor, through imam, through eccentric that live in a penthouse in adjacent of Big Gates, or through a judge that was have a direct contact to German Chancellor. I've been an Naija who was is always in and out of downtown in Britain. We are all. They can reach us anytime. That's why I say it's eccentric. When the time to activate you reach, it's very easy. And when they did that, through political strategy, right? Labour Party, NMPP, PDP, APC, right? That's how they reach us through political strategy. They keep us hungry. Another fact. From Obasanjo PDP to Good Luck PDP to Buhari APP, all of them hungry. Nigerians, they fall in, numbers of Nigeria becomes hungry. Purchasing power literally vanish over time. It increase. And I said it at the beginning of Bola Tinubu administration that the goal of the administration is to come and do what? Subjected a lot of Nigerians into state beggars, while few will be extremely rich. So more people, they keep us hungry. The more they devise through political strategy, they keep us hungry. And when you try to get some food, right? Okay, let me go and extract natural resources within my backyard so that I can feed that everybody can feed. Let me do the That time, your brother will be your enemy. Isn't that incredible? Because brothers they are not supposed to even compete. So how do we get to the point of being enemy? Through political strategy. So ambush in the night, all guns aim at me, ambush in the night. See, continue by the man himself. They open fire on me, but they are all protected by God, by His Majesty, right? So Prophet Bob Marley spoke for today for Nigeria. But Ovie, naturally, whatever you know is what you are taught. How else would you know? Okay, I like that take. I like that question. Let's go back to it. Let me bring it back on. So, say they say whatever we know is just what they teach us. You forgot this word right here. is important. Just. You understand? They say he's speaking to a particular group of people, right? Those who won't conquer us or those who conquer us. That's what he refers to as they. So your conqueror believe that the only thing that you know is what he or she teaches you. And we are so ignorant. I don't know if it's a little bit more clear, because let's go to the next chapter where he expand on that. So and well, he said here he responded, he continued by saying, which is speak to, which now answer your question directly. That part is to actually understand that the just is very important, the word just there. So here he said, what we know is not what they tell us. We are not ignorant. I mean it. And they just cannot touch us through the power of. Now, if you just stay here for a minute, he say, but we know, right? So what we know is not what they tell us. So now your question is, but is it naturally what you know is what you are taught? How else would you know? Exactly. So now let me answer that in another way. As far as I'm concerned right now, I don't form believe that, or I feel they claim that what you know, like let's say regarding the subject matter about this Nigerian and American relationship, whatever that, geopolitics, for instance. For my mind now, I would believe say, maybe if I see you they talk for another place or whatever, I would believe say, things where you know about what is happening. Now waiting, I teach you. Right? Now that is ignorant on my own part, or I'm too arrogant to see it like that, because you they also listen to other people. You learn from your parents, you learn from your experience. Again, if you also go back to the prophet Bob Marley again, where you talk about the emancipation yourself from mental slavery, right? How do you do that? You have to unlearn what they teach you, because they see they remote us. Because as it is now, let's face it, George, our school system now then build down. Our curriculum now them. To some extent, we are actually acting that first part as if waiting we know now, only waiting then teach us. Because how come, go back to debate yesterday on Dr. Damage's the 90 Minutes Africa, how comes we have engineers, right? But they cannot build or create anything until they go outside. So we are actually programmed. They inform us, they educate us not to function for ourselves, but to function for them, which is the miseducation of the Black Negro Carter Wilson talked about. Like if you can control a man's thinking, you don't have to worry about his action. So up till now, they are still control how we do, how we think. That's why the age of information is an important part. Yes, I agree. And I always make that quote. In an age of information, ignorance is a choice. Which now speaks to the other part of Bob Marley. Say, at this point, we don't have to, they say, oh, I have to go to this school, I have to go learn from here, I have to go to that before, how much it's going to cost me, No. So at this point, we are expected to use this information age to emancipate ourselves, since the access to information is cheap now. So it's our time to start it's our time we start proving them wrong. That all we know is not just what they taught us. They teach us not to be able to first identify our resources. Because now then they discover our resources for us. All the lithium, all the petrol, whatever. Now then discover and tell us, oh yeah, did it. Right? And that's because, and from then on, they just teach us that process on. They never teach us how to identify the how to identify it, extract it, turn it to a manufacturing product to finished goods and all that kind of stuff. Now, does that mean we don't know it? No. There's a place called Edo Benin Kingdom. They had their civilization. They did this in their own way. But the question now is that how come we cannot replicate? How come we cannot do things on our own? Which prove Bob Marley right. Because everything they act as if everything we know, now only waiting them teach us. So if you listen to our conversation, the way they argue, that's why they always best for people where I actually put Dr. Damage and the guests on blast yesterday because come on, you guys are teachers, bro. Like if a woman they tell you say now so make you teach us, you said you don't know our problem. We are fighting and glossing over how AI want AI. Like what the heck, man? Chinese decided to take their fate, destiny into their hand. They developed their own AI. They develop everything that so that's why they are in competition. We fight, we argue against ourselves how we go take, they go how we go take, how they will take advantage of what they won't give us, which is supposed to be the other way around. So I don't know, George, if I try small. So yes, he went ahead to say, well, what we know is not what they tell us. We are not ignorant. I mean it. And they just cannot touch us through the power of the Most High. We keep on surfacing. If you continue reading from that book of survival, no matter how, but we keep surfacing through the power of the Most High. We keep on surviving. Yeah, this is ambush in the night, planned by the society. Ambush in the night. They are trying to conquer me again. This is what it's about. This is where the lights of Kwame Nkrumah rings the bell that they are coming to conquer us. So that was 12 years after that speech was delivered in Addis Ababa. They are here. So anything money can bring is planned by the society. Thank you. See, I try my best. I did, right? So it's speaking, for the future. So it's philosophical in a way. Kerala is the first Indian state to eradicate poverty. Guess what? They are the only communist state in India. What do you mean eradicate poverty first? Eccentric. What do you mean that eradicate poverty? What is poverty? Is it the 135 million dimensional poverty you are talking about? I don't understand that a state eradicate poverty. I think for me, for me to say, okay, a state has arrived at that junction. That's okay. This state, this country, this community don't eradicate poverty. Is that means that every citizen of that community, other states, other country, no, they worry about waiting he go eat, where he go sleep. And if he or she is sick, I access to healthcare should not be a problem. I think what you if that is achieved 100% within a community, then I will say, okay, that community don't eradicate poverty. Because that, for me, I think that's the only thing you need to stay alive or to survive. Every other thing, it now depends on how greedy you are. You want. Say, as a citizen of any community, what to eat at any time and where to sleep and how to treat you is no longer something in fact, you forget there's anything like that. Then I say, okay, you are there. Read up on it. It's an open information. What do you call it? Kerala. So let me see what Kerala did to get eccentric. So I don't know, camera. So when you see read and up. So should I say the first country to eradicate poverty, Abi? Abi, that's your claim, Abi. Kerala becomes first India state to eradicate poverty. So let's see what they mean. Let's take you on. Should I go and read how many? What's the population? Or let me see. Well, let me read it and see what are the parameters they use to scale that to arrive at that conclusion. So Kerala becomes first Indian state to eradicate poverty. That's a big claim. Kerala achievement in eradicating extreme poverty is a significant milestone in India. Let me see. Okay, let me put it down here. It's a communist Indian state. I am saying Nigerian problem could be solved with focus on social programs and education. We see. Let me see. So Kerala achievement in eradicating extreme poverty is a significant milestone in India development. The state's approach to poverty alleviation is based on a comprehensive understanding of the multidimensional nature of poverty, which include income, housing, food, healthcare, and education. Kerala method involve identifying families that are excluded from existing welfare scheme and provide them with tailored macro plans to address their specific needs. Okay. This sounds like a government propaganda, but let's go there. Kerala method involve identify families that are excluded from existing welfare schemes and provide them with tailored micro plans to address their specific needs. It sounds like Bola Tinubu coming out to say, yes, we have given so billion to extreme poverty family. We are able to identify 100 and so thousand families and give them 5,000. George, am I am I smoking too much? It sounds like that, but I could be wrong. Let's continue. This approach has led to the identification of over 64,000 families living in extreme poverty and has been supported by a budget of one rupee, abi crore for the project. With no be rupee be India money. You see, 1,000. We'll see equivalent of that. Can somebody do the dollar equivalent and post it? Let's see. What is the dollar equivalent of whatever? I think it should be rupee. That's India's listen. The state's commitment to his initiative is reflected in the allocation of 60 crore for the financial year 2025-2026 to ensure sustainable livelihood and healthcare. Kerala's success in eradicating extreme poverty is a testament to the effectiveness of its people-centric development model and the collective effort of its citizens and governments. The Financial Express, a Ghana Global story, how the state ended extreme poverty. All right, I'm trying to see a counter argument to that because it can't just be just one way like that. I get what he's saying now. I get what he's saying. I'm not the. I understand that. So if $1 is 88 point, let's say 10 rupees, right? Let's just take it up to 10 rupees. So and they were giving 1,000. How much is that? But the overall argument that essentially trying to make that communism government system will solve our problem. I don't know. I think our our problem is, I don't know, the economic model, right? I don't think is at the core of our problem. So that's why I'm kind of right now from socialists first. What will be the difference, right? So I think all these things, everyone is trying to find an alternative to capitalism, right? Even though the capitalism too, at the core of it is communism, right? Because communism is pretty much a communal way of existence. That's what it's about. Community coming together and pretty much being in charge of everything in a way which is pretty much democracy anyway. They decide how they are governed. They decide how the factors of productions are put in place and all that kind of a thing. And I get that point, right? But the men who who are more ambitious don't want to see that play out everywhere. You can't go to communist first. You have to first start from socialism. Like that's the point. What's the difference? What's the difference? Because again, all these things are just in names, right? They are just in names, but in practice, none of them is true. None of them will survive without still having that communism at play at one point or the other. America is pretty much the number one capitalist, quote unquote, capitalist nation in the world, hybrid capitalism. But underneath it is still communism. It's still people's tax money. It's still people's money that fund all those individual capitalists. None of them get money to stand on their own to start anything. None, even none. As we speak, even OpenAI is being accused of trying to get a subsidy from government. Isn't that crazy? Right, because they are trying to raise they are trying to spend about 1 point something trillion, but on the budget of 13 billion. All right. So it is practical, not just in name. It is people centric instead of capital centric. The point eccentric. The point we are making at the end of the day, this the pro because this they can't wait and I just stood it and talk. There's no practical house. Okay, how and what did they arrive at that? Because when you talk about communism, factors of production of that society has to be in the hand of the people. There's no other way to see it. Factors of production, means of factors of production have to be in the hands of the people. Right? If you are going to work, you know that you're also part owner of that work that you are going to. Structural adjustment program made all the social program in Nigeria and sets the country in the part 18. So now that's why I keep saying I was trying to say that maybe Nigerian problem not be really we not be economic definition. Where I was driving to is the interference of the outside and how we they fall into it, just so easily. So they finger, they tell us what to do, and also that's why I say it's very hard for me to say, okay, this is where Nigeria should go economical under, because these men are still navigating, their freedom economically. So we are not in a position to say, okay, this is where I want to go. And I'm not, well, maybe I should not say we are not in position. The men are not ready to sacrifice their greed to put us on a path and then the consequences. All right. No matter which path we go, there will be a consequence, but we should be ready to deal with it. But our elite are not ready to go that path. So if factors, because what we now, I always talk and say, if you don't understand First World War, it's very difficult for you to actually understand what is going on right now. I've been saying it for like years now. Why? Because all these factors came to play that eventually ignite the First World War. The competition between socialism and capitalism, nation states is on one side, the religion side take it down. Just so many things. The arm race between the German side, the Ottoman Empire had to go, the Indians are getting like there's so much the child. So much that actually happened within that 1800 that finally ignited the First World War. And socialism and capitalism was at the front of that. They achieved success. What do you want? I think the great example to use for this socialism, capitalism, socialism or communism, you want to say it, eccentric or George, is the story of the what they call this country again. Not Switzerland. What be the other country that starts? There also Swiss. Wait, no, let me not. Hungarian Empire of those. But is it Swedish Hungarian, Abi? Yeah, Swedish. So in 18 in 1849, let me bring that on the screen. Wow. I like how would they how would they how would they reason this our Nigeria matter. I like that. No people they can't shout tribal, tribal, tribal. uh, why I won't go there was you get a part just to speak to you a party just to speak to exact point you are making eccentric. Where for me, which is the best example of where communism or whatever socialism, I don't know, I won't use name, they describe it. For me, it's just two straight ways. One is whereby the all factors of production, decision, everything is hand of the people. They do have nothing like say somebody is your boss, somebody is lording over you, and all that kind of crap. So if you see that one as a communism or socialism, we are on the same understanding. Then the other side is where, in the name of open market competition, capitalism, uh, 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 whoever win, right? Somebody has to win. Somebody has to be a boss. Somebody has to be in charge. And that person is regarded as the genius, as a founder, as a CEO, as a chairman, or blah, blah, blah. But not knowing that, don't be say because the person is genius or he has so much resources. No, it's because the government, the state, collect people's money and pretty much back those individuals up. So, all right, that's if you understand your capitalism as that way on the same side. Now, in this 1848 revolution, at the very, pretty much the whole Europe catch fire, right? Literally, the people they approach their government, seize all the factories, all the companies, kill their CEOs, their chairman. If you stand on their way, they'll seize everything that has to do with how the society should work. All over Europe, from Budapest to Netherlands to Australia, everywhere they collect, right? In 1848, everybody they collect. So when they get to the Swedish-Hungarian Empire, get to the Swedish people, the leaders, the leaders of the Swedish-Hungarian Empire came and said, come, okay. Me too now once. Okay, when I want the factories and I want everything, all right, take it. But we are going to go over, do the transition little by little, slowly, but no business will just happen. So they were able to strike an agreement, a deal within that, the People Revolution, and strike an agreement that the transition from where we are now to that full communism and socialism that you guys envision is going to take place over 300 years. So they are closing 200 years into that agreement, and evidence are there that yes, what you are saying essentially, even when COVID-19 period come out, they are the first people to actually recover. They are the first people's states to recover from the financial crisis that the Wall Street, eventually the whole world went through in 1997, 2007, 2006. Eventually bring Barack Obama into power, right? So to me, again, with the victory of Mandani, in New York, and exactly what you are saying, eccentric, we are at that threshold again. We are there again. So we'll see how it will pan out. But George, how to get there in Nigeria situation? We have to be we have to have we have to determine, we have to own the economy at least 75 to 80%. If we know we hold on 100%. Because right now, what things that make the economy work is not in our control. Don't control Jack. We don't even control our own money. Government, we know we control. Military, we know get. So
Everything, but it explains that we've been.
If you embark on an adventure that go against their interests, they fuck you up. As simple as that.
By Putin doing that and was saying, I can do the same thing. Watch.
Soviet Union. He did endless documentaries about the Soviet Union and the Cold War afterwards. I spoke to Putin's and to our civilization, and we don't, is what he told me. And we don't, is what he told me back in 2022. So let us hope that Peskov remembers that. All right, so we're going to stop this bit about nuclear weapons and take a quick break and talk about the lengthening tales of military intervention. We see what's going on in Venezuela in the Western Hemisphere, but Trump this weekend said that he might intervene in Nigeria. Why? We'll be back. Right, we're back, Jamie and I, and we want to discuss something kind of extraordinary, although I don't know how to define extraordinary anymore in this era. But after the ramping up and the continued military intervention around Venezuela against drug traffickers, according to Donald Trump and his administration, this weekend he announced that he would militarily intervene in Nigeria, one of the most populous and either the first or second economy in Africa, if the government there did not stop what Trump said were the anti-Christian attacks. So this really, really upset, put the cat among the pigeons. Nigerians couldn't understand what's going on. Jamie, I just happened to have been talking today at a CNN event to the former Nigerian finance minister, Dr. Ngozi, and she is now the head of the World Trade Organization. So, of course, I had to ask her that question, and she really didn't want to answer it because she said, this is a very, very sensitive topic. We do not know what it means. We do not know where it came from. She admitted to me, as we all know, that there are they're Christians, they're Muslims, they're all sorts of multi-faiths, they're tribes, they're different areas geographically and the otherwise competition over resources. She said, yeah, we are not a perfect society, but we have to, get to the bottom of this and deal with it ourselves. And we are trying to do so. So were you surprised, Jamie, when you heard that?
No, and I'm never surprised by Trump anymore. Look, I don't think we're going to use military power in Nigeria. I think that Trump sees the world the way we've described, which is that he really can do whatever he wants in his own backyard. This is Trump's thinking. Putin has, Eurasia. China has Asia, and I have Western Hemisphere. What's in the issue
Jamie
now
Rubin?
is that no, Trump. I'm saying Trump. Africa is up for grabs. So I think he's happy to pose some threats out there and appeal to his constituency of, evangelical Christians who are worried about the threats to Christians in Nigeria, which are very, very real. But I think this will be resolved. But what it brings up is that, as a book once called it, there's a scramble for Africa between the United States, China, Russia, the United Arab Emirates, this tiny little Arab country, which has a lot of money. And I think we've both pointed out that they've been behaving in very pernicious ways by supporting the worst actors in Sudan, which which has led to the worsening of the civil war there, which is leading to real tragedy for the people of Sudan. And I think the United States, Russia, and China are all doing what they can try to grab something in Africa, because it's not in one of those spheres of influence, and that it's up for grabs. Fortunately for the people of Africa, the war in Ukraine has limited Russia's capability. The Wagner group disintegrated, and Russia's trying to revive it. But that group was doing horrible things inside Africa. They were getting paid by leaders, and then, actually murdering civilians, claiming to be fighting terrorism, but basically just trying to get money from African governments. That capability is reduced, but China's going big time into Africa.
Yeah, very, and has been for decades.
Absolutely. And the United States is, sort of on the back foot, because remember, President Trump in his first term described what he thought of the people of Africa and other countries that were not white in some rather nasty language. And I think it takes a lot of effort for the Trump administration to actually focus on Africa and care about Africa and try to do something about it. Because let's face it, what they've done is destroy the one tool that has made America great in Africa. Think about that, what I just said, making America great in Africa, which is through the Agency for International Development, the great PEPFAR program that saved millions of lives from AIDS, the great health programs that have been eliminating tuberculosis and other diseases. All of that was wiped out by the richest man in the world, Elon Musk, in some act of, I don't know what he called it, putting it in the wood chipper. He thought it was funny. And that has damaged our reputation in Africa.
Guess what's happening?
Damaged it.
I heard at this summit, actually Chinese are just stepping right in. They say, turn to us, we'll be your good Samaritan. Now, we understand that they don't do soft power like the United States does. It's very, very transactional. And often they do these huge infrastructure projects. They import all their workers. It's not like they give a lot back to the African economy, and they get a lot of control. But interestingly, Dr. Ngozi, a former Nigerian foreign and finance minister and current WTO minister, said that it's a big mistake for the US and other democratic countries and serious economies not to look at Africa and all the different economies and countries that exist there with all their different strengths and challenges, like infrastructure, like corruption, like all those things that they have to, clearly deal with. But she said, look, suddenly rare earths are the nom du jour. I mean, everybody can't stop talking about rare earths. She said Africa has at least 30% of the world's rare earth minerals. And then she said it has between 60 and 70% of the world's arable land. So, and manufacturing and other such things. So it's a very important marketplace. And she said kind of what you said, that don't just look at Africa as a bunch of shithole countries. And I'm quoting President Trump. That is not my view. Let's actually get together and create something really good and strong and beneficial, and don't cede Africa.
The DRC, the Democratic Republic of Congo.
That prime minister was there. It's a woman. She speaks French.
Right. And the president there, has been back and forth working with the United States. They have real mineral capabilities. They have extraordinary resources. They have terrible infrastructure, and that needs to be built. But I think if we were doing this right, we would be building our support inside Africa with soft power like AID and all the other programs. But meanwhile, getting investments going so that we could pull rare earths from the ground and then produce them somewhere. Because remember, what China does have a monopoly on practically is production of rare earths. They have something like 90%, but there's many other critical.
So that say they can pull out the resources and produce it somewhere. That part, that one right there, that's the problem. Why you won't go produce them somewhere? And that's what the Congolese people are saying. Produce them here, build infrastructures. Because to produce them there, so many factors have to come to play. You have to build roads, you have to build schools, you have to so many. Everybody will get jobs. They are taking that whole important part to another place to go give them. The Zimbabweans are saying, you have to do it here. That's what the Chinese people did. So that's the contention now. I want to believe that our leaders are saying, you have to build infrastructure. At least let's start from there. The one thing they've agreed on, these two people, is that they've agreed China is the problem. China has done, they do business for Africa for decades. They've all agreed on that. No, that's a no. The Russian people are just there to extort money from the government and all that kind of shit. So there's kind of a consensus going on that, easy back and forth.
Minerals that are in that category that could hold up the world's economy, many of which zinc, cobalt, all of these, lithium, all of these capabilities are in Africa, and we should be helping them grow and helping ourselves and protecting ourselves from China using economic coercion against all of us. And instead, we're threatening to invade Nigeria, which of course we're not going to do.
Yeah. So are you, I won't say we, going to invade Venezuela? Now, I heard a very interesting analysis, because this just keeps carrying on. There's a huge number of warships off the coast, according to various diagrams and satellite pictures that we get to see. This former government official, and I think he was in the Bush administration, he said a couple of things. This is both domestic and foreign policy for this Trump administration. Domestic policy to show that they're cracking down on the drugs coming into the United States. But he said the problem there, going all the way back to Richard Nixon and the war on drugs, is that it's always trying to attack the production and the source rather than the pull factor and the market for drugs in the United States. So that's one, difficult and cognitive dissonance, if you like, there. Then he said all the ships could be also giving a signal to, let's say, the Venezuelan military, if they wanted to take this signal, that if they perform a coup against Maduro, that the U.S. would be right there offshore, ready to hop over to help them if they needed it.
Meanwhile, Trump is talking publicly about the supposed CIA covert operation,
Right.
which isn't very covert if he's talking about it. And I think they're essentially trying to bluff their way to success. In other words, have a lot of ships, perhaps attack some of the Venezuelan anti-aircraft systems, send a message to the military, we'll work with you, and have the CIA presumably trying to penetrate the Venezuelan military and convincing them to conduct a coup. The problem is Maduro comes out of the Venezuelan military, and Chavez before him came out of the Venezuelan military. They've been preparing this for years. They've turned their economy into crypto economy so that sanctions can't work. I'm very, very worried that we're spending all of our energy, our military, economic, and political energies trying to bluff our way into regime change in Venezuela, when the only way to get regime change in Venezuela is to actually invade, like we did back with Manuel Noriega in the
Totally
first
different,
Bush
though.
administration. But
Much smaller. There were U.S. bases there, U.S. military, and yeah, totally different.
This is 10 times harder, 100 times harder, 1,000 times harder, and it's not likely to happen, in my opinion. So instead, we're going to be embarrassed. And this is what's so amazing to me. Trump had been given a great offer by Maduro. They were going to kick the Chinese out, kick the Iranians out, and offer the United States preferential access to their oil, other facilities, and gold. This is the kind of deal Donald Trump usually likes. And all we had to do was lift sanctions. That's it. We didn't have to like Maduro. We didn't have to work with him. We didn't have to praise him. We could still be in favor of a democratic process, but we would get all the benefits. And why he's not doing that, I don't know.
Well,
speculation.
You've speculated about Rubio because he's taken over the policy. And actually, this analyst, former government official, said it's an obsession of Rubio's. He used that word. As we know, Rubio is the son of immigrants from Cuba, and they want to, and so does the Cuban American diaspora, wants to get rid of the Castro regime, communist Cuba. And according to this analyst, and this has been the sort of raison d'etre for many attempts to destabilize, whether it was Chavez and now Maduro, the fall of Venezuela would, in their view, inevitably lead to the fall of Cuba.
Even so, it's not worth the United States putting all their prestige, all of their money, all their resources to try to achieve something we probably can't do. And if we could do, we'd have to own Venezuela. Remember, if you break it, you own it. If we were to invade this country and try to overthrow it, we'd be responsible for all the consequences. Instead, let's let the Venezuelan people solve their own problems, but get a preferential deal for the United States. That is where we get the better deal, because it's not our responsibility to know who's in charge of every government. Remember, what infuriates Rubio is that Chavez, Maduro's mentor, was elected democratically a couple of
but
times.
then became very undemocratic.
Then he became undemocratic. Absolutely. My point here is that we should do what's right for the United States, so that we can make America stronger and have the respect of our neighbors in the region by not trying to overthrow regimes, and keep the United States focused on the real threats to our world, which are emanating, as you know, I think, from Beijing and Moscow.
And by the way, and we don't have time to discuss it, but apparently Maduro is begging Russia and China for help. Whether they will or not, we'll see. So let's end that segment right there. When we come back, we'll have our recommendations. All right, guys, we're back, and we're going to do our recommendations for this week. So, Jamie, you want to go first?
Sure.
We don't need your recommendation.
For the time we've been doing this podcast, is during the second Trump administration. A lot of Americans and people around the world have been struggling to understand what's going on in.
Wait. We don't need your recommendation.
And make America stronger and have the respect.
We have our own recommendation. All the way from Benin. This is a recommendation for my people for this solution. What's happening now? This is our recommendation to YouTube. When I no fuck up, YouTube don't the video yourself. I don't want to report you now. How the evil way you do for me. This is a good recommendation, but I don't know. Even that recommendation way will work. They don't have to restrict us. We just have to implement a law that as a public official, you are not allowed to travel out of if you want to be a public official, 5 years to you serving, you are not allowed to travel out of the country. And 5 years after you don't come off for office, you are not allowed to leave the country. It should be a law. So you go see. This is strange. Hi. YouTube, I don't want to take our recommendation. Yeah. It's crazy. Oh, wow. Why everything just with the internet everything froze? That's bad. Ah. Wow. My computer has been attacked. Oh, no, yes. I was attacked. I don't know who to accuse anyway. But we don't want their recommendation. Let's recommendation. Let's see if it is a doable one.
Desperate situations, they say,
Are we in a desperate situation?
requires desperate solution. So today I want to talk about
This is fucking. I'm not trust on our government. Our government, they block. That's crazy. This is serious, bro. Ah, this is serious. Somebody tell me what is happening. I need to know what I want. Somebody tell me what is happening.
visa restrictions for public officials in Nigeria. Visas truly should be restricted for our public officials by foreign countries. This is informed by recent Trump's declaration of Nigeria as a country of concern, and then the back and forth debate about whether the main reason for America and Trump's interest in Nigeria and whether it's for economic reasons or otherwise. This is really coupled with the obvious fact that Nigerians, whether Christians or Muslims, are being killed across the country by
Yep.
terrorists, bandits, ethnic militias, kidnappers, and other criminal gang, which also, notoriously, you are aware that the government completely agrees with, but as we all know, they lack the capacity and sincerity to deal with it effectively. So the reason for this is I want to provide solution to all of these foreign countries that want to help us. Americans should lead. So to show the world that there are truly no ulterior motives and that their reason for threatening to come into Nigeria and guns are blazing if Nigeria failed to stop the killing is altruistic. I want American to support us in combating insecurity. And then also American government, as a matter of urgency, should collaborate with Russia, Europe, Asia, Dubai, and all other countries to cancel all visas issued to public officials and their family members in Nigeria so that they can all stay here and repair our country and make our public institutions more effective to both the rich and the poor, those in government and those in our country. And should collaborate with Russia, Europe, Asia, Dubai, and all other countries.
You see my people, you see what's in the talk, say these people, you are fighting for clicks and content. They don't understand the times we are in. How you go say, hey, what the fuck is going on? Eccentric, this is your uncle. These are your people. The guy is saying China and Russia will be happy to see US block our government official visa. They go admit them one hand. This guy.
To cancel all visas issued to public officials and their family members in Nigeria so that they can all stay here and repair our country and make our public institutions more effective to both the rich and the poor, those in government and those outside of government. Just follow me small. I don't know how you see them, because if all of us stay here, then we know the wrong go anywhere, then we go solve our problem. Because if our public
I know I should say you know they make sense. True. If you want government Jesus Christ, I know just if you want to stop your official from traveling, now you go do it from inside. Just stop voting for people where they live for abroad, where they travel anyhow. That is possible. Because if you say maybe they enact a law that will make that possible, they won't do it. So go to your village, organize your village, tell them what they tell us. Tell them every day for another 5 years. It will sink, they go get out. Vote for village champion like my governor Baulo. You don't go travel. If you stop my governor from traveling, the guy will like, hell no. He will be happy.
Officials are not able to send their kids.
You see eccentric. You see these people don't know. They know they are slow. They are slow. And these days, that's the reason I choose my candidates. I choose village champions. There's a reason. Even though that's not enough, I have to be able to get to a point that we go make them sign an agreement. You know, go travel. Like until we have to do that from our own end, you are telling the people aren't they happy? Bola Tinubu, if you finish the presidency, no be abroad, you go sit down. This motherfuckers, man. Guys. Wasn't he the guy that came to Dr. Damaji? No. This one never come. I know this one where this one a lawyer. He never come. I'm actually surprised that he's having that kind of take. Maybe I don't get it, because now all hands on deck. They have to protect Nigeria. Everybody has to take a position one way or the other. Money that will begin share money now.
And families are brought to school. Your guess is as good as mine. They will fix the school here for
These guys are slow. I had
everybody, include their family members too.
These guys are slow. I had a show on this issue 4 days ago that I call it local. Politics is local. Stop voting for people that you cannot drive to their house under 5 minutes, or you cannot walk to their house under 5 minutes. Stop voting for a councillor that his children doesn't attend the same school with your children. And they don't go to the same market with you. I know they buy coffee from the same store with you. Stop voting for those kind of people. It's as simple as that. State out of assembly. If you cannot run to a house under 10 minutes, don't vote for him. Senator, House of Rep, if their family, if their parent, grandparent not live in the same community with you, shop in the same place, go to the same school, don't vote for them. It's as simple as that. I think that should be the message. And if we preach that message long enough, 4 years, it will stick. You won't be worried whether they go buy the, you know, go they complain like we're busy that they buy vote, that they sell votes or there. You don't they shout that they sell vote now for how many years? You actually say that they sell votes. I'm waiting for these people to start their foolishness.
And if other countries make it impossible for public officials to relocate their families to these countries, whether they are in office or out of office, our officials will learn to make Nigeria safe for all. Because by that time, nobody gets second address or second home. So we die here. So we
it's not their fault to people are too fixation on it's their fault. They condition all of us to talk about the president. Because that's what you see on TV now. If you understand, now the same elite get the TV station. So it is all the show that the people see. So they pay their attention. So that's why I fought all these opposition candidates. Is it that they buy vote? What have you been doing? You are not active in the community. That's what you are supposed to be doing. Then see where they go come buy votes. It's fucking ridiculous. Like they complain for the past 44 years that they buy vote. What are you doing about it? Who will stop the people if they vote in a social? Nobody. But you have to educate the people to that point. You have to spend your resources in making sure you let them. You as a candidate, as a socialist candidate, you understand? It is the effort of Bernie Sanders and AOC to some extent that gave birth to Mandani in New York. You see, Bernie Sanders won in 2016 election. That ticket was his to contest with Trump, but the money bags came and swing it to Hillary Clinton. But the work that Bernie Sanders put in play among those young generation, the young guys, is what Mandani is benefiting from as we speak. So, eccentric. That's what the opposition politician needs to be doing. Obi they come, I'll see fan of big video. Be they complain, they buy vote. Nigga, what the fuck were you? Anyway.
have to make it work. Because we know some of them who were governors for 8 years in office and immediately leave office, they japa. Even their states, when they say they provided Dorado, it's not safe enough to accommodate them the moment they leave office. As today, they live in America and some in Europe. I don't want to mention name, but you know their names. Let's add the names, on the comment section here. Because we can't continue like this. If these foreign countries make it impossible for public officials to come to their country for medical tourism, like our president going for treatment in London or France, certainly our leaders will make our hospitals work. Because now there they go receive treatment. They don't get where they go. So, but when you have 2 hospitals, one abroad for them and the one for the rest of us, they certainly won't bother about the one that is attending to us. So the moment someone becomes a public official in Nigeria, my recommendation is whether president, governor, parliamentarian, or civil servants, apart from 2 or 3 weeks training or meetings abroad, these foreign countries should refuse them and their family members, even visiting visas, if they are not sure that they will come back. I can tell you that then, it's only then that public office will become less attractive. Only those when one work go there attractive to. You'll be surprised that our country will become very secure for all of us, because that time, say nobody they go anywhere, because all of us will make it work. Because the school will be for both the rich and the poor, the hospital will be for both the rich and the poor, because the people who are providing it will certainly have to attend to those hospitals. If these foreign countries refuse our leaders from coming to stay in their countries to enjoy public infrastructures built by them, our leaders will certainly stay here to build and repair our own.
Foreign companies will
No
they
be rocket
benefit in
science.
billions.
Also,
People, stop
these foreign countries should also remember to refuse our leaders from bringing money to put in their bank, because by the time they carry our money go there, then you now begin to blame them for not developing our country. You added to our woes and frustration. The list is just endless, but for time, just add your own, because no nation progresses when our leaders don't find the public infrastructure they provide befitting enough to cater for them and their words. And also,
American is a business. Every country is open for business. Anybody that is bringing money, they go accept that. That's what you need to know, Ojoma. They will never stop person that is.
the peace of this country, the security of this country, and the public infrastructure will never become a priority to our leaders. I don't want to make sense. I just want to state my own. But if it makes sense to you, help me share and like. So
Not
that
making sense. So, don't worry. You don't need to play it off. You sound exactly how you think.
Well, my name is Peter Obi.
This man, I like the mashup. My name is Peter Obi. We don't know before. We don't know you. It's trying to be humble. It's trying to play into humbleness. No need to try again now. But that stigma is already stick. I don't understand why. Look, I see. Why am I entering the fuck up? Eccentric. You have hand in this shit? Oxê, o Jésù, Almanió. Oxê, o Jésù, Okay, I don't know what's going on, man. My interneto keep friziano.
My name is Peter Obi. My personal experience is that democracy is deteriorating in our country. Unfortunately, those who are the victim of bad governance seems to be fueling it. I've been able to go, listing and around on what is happening. What you see is that there's predominantly vote buying to the scale of 20, 30,000, 15,000. The question I ask, for a young person who is unemployed, if it says his vote for 30,000, what is he going to be paid next month when there's no voting? By selling your vote, you're selling no school, no hospital, no job. You're selling away your future. And that is what is very worrisome. Other countries, even West African countries that are close to us, we have observed the election.
See why
I didn't
I don't like Obi. There's a reason I don't like him. It's in the insult us. The insult is just becoming too much. Those people are not selling their votes. Those people just want to survive. So if you say they sell their vote 10,000 today, tomorrow what next? Let tomorrow comes. After all, that is their daily existence. Their prayers that let me survive today. Nobody they talk about tomorrow. Now people like when they think about tomorrow, they what to eat, where to eat is not a problem. That's why when they fit think about tomorrow. And that's the problem. You don't know say election will day that day for the past 10, 20 years. You know there's going to be election. You don't do anything. You did not put the power of obedience to bear in your state. How come Anambra State no gets headquarter of the obedient movement, either for the young people or for if you enter Anambra, there should not be able to differentiate an Abga government or Abga state or now Obi house with this. Why? You abandon the people, you go just come because you know that all the cameras will be in Anambra because election day, both international and everybody will be there. You just raise your ugly head, begin blame the people for you and your colleagues' failure. You're a banker who helped money go out of this country in billions of dollars. So your bank was all about. These people, it's just sad.
see this happening. So for you people who are journalists, you must cooperate. This must be stopped.
Your Excellency, you are not on the ballot in this election, but we know you belong to the Labour Party. I want to ask you what you think are the expectations of this election, especially as it has to do with your candidate, Dr. George Moore.
Well, for me, yes, you're right. I'm a member of Labour Party, and I support the Labour Party candidate.
Wow.
But quite frankly, everybody that is involved with this election is my brothers, my sisters, and everything. I'm not in ballot. I've been governor 13 years ago. So I'm not in this. I'm strictly in Champions League of Nigerian politics and contesting to be president of Nigeria.
Who is this guy? But a few months from now, you go say, make people come support your party. With the Nigerian people and other people, and I don't know if they key into his ideologies, his way of seeing things. All the candidates are my brothers and sisters. So why would now call the insult Nigerian for choosing one out of their brother, because Obi na their brother, Atiku na their brother, Tinubu na their brother. If you want to use Obi sense or foolishness. Like, which kind of excuse be this? You just threw your candidate under the bus. You could not come out and support your candidate with full chairs. Work to make sure it becomes you win. But you are here to complain that, according to the eccentric, people who are just carry out the prophecy of God, the Lord's Prayer, are daily bread. People who are just who are seeing that threshold of just daily bread. You miss. Blessed. They are complaining.
So for people who are in first division, I wish them well. And I'm sure they will do very well. Whoever wins, let him serve the people. Nigeria needs service now. We need to pull our people out of poverty. Our people need to know that schools are working. It's no longer grandstanding. They need to do the hospitals, which is why we're supporting the nursing schools to be able to produce the manpower that is required for every village to have at least a primary health care where people can go.
FYI, Obi carry hospital for head because in sponsor.
Okay, Your Excellency, I would like you to look at the performance in this.
Obi carry hospital for head. They donate money to all the nursing schools because of one thing. In Oga, the people that I work for, Bill Gates, which is a eccentric neighbor, wetin be Bill Gates pet project in Nigeria? Number one, no be healthcare, right? Who is the minister of healthcare in Nigeria? Pete, Poto, whatever they call that man. He was a former employee of Bill Gates. They carried him from Bill Gates office straight to come be minister. So if you see the coordination of Obi donation, now what did they decide with that? So they are grooming nurses, because if you follow Pete's Tinubu's agenda of Kilompe, what be that their slogan himself? What be Tinubu slogan? It's not even popular, say. What's sad? Renew Hope agenda. So if you follow Renew Hope agenda in terms of healthcare, you understand that they are investing heavily in healthcare. That's a given. But now that Bill Gates company, they do everything. So at the end of the day, we know if you are fallen. Bill Gates live in Bellevue. I moved out of there because they priced me out. See the man when they see they don't get out. So all they need to do is to give you a penthouse by Bill Gates, and they'll give you you are in. You see how you just open your secret. So all they need to do is to give you life mansion, right, in Bellevue, and your family and your generation unborn. You go send Nigeria out cheap. You will give Nigeria to them easy. So that's why Obi is just focused on healthcare. Now one of his best performance with that when he was a governor, he was bragging every year and all that kind of shit. That's why the North no one fuck with him like that. That's one of the reasons too. Other than saying Igbo man and a Christian, but the fact that again is so heavily invested in the New York adventure. They don't fuck with him like that.
Particularly
in 2027, given your experience from what is happening currently in this governor's election, what hope do you have?
Well,
For 2027?
I've congratulated the new INEC chairman and tell him to look at what happened to his predecessors. All I can say to him is that the name and reputation his children will live in is a test. None of us will be in position forever. So it is important that while you're there, try and serve the people. Try and serve humanity, try and serve society.
Your Excellency, what's your assessment of INEC in the ongoing election?
Well, I'm not here to assess that. I've just told you what is happening with the election. The observance is a major vote buying.
That guy will ask that question. That guy made a look for him. That guy will ask that question. This guy asked this question. Made a look for him.
The observance is a major vote buying.
That guy will ask that question. Made them look for him. That guy an agent. They said that make it to be up. That guy an agent. I go to tell you why. Why I say the guy an agent. The guy said, "What is your assessment of INEC?" Nah. That question is too.
The observance is a major vote buying.
Wait.
Your Excellency, what's your assessment of INEC in the ongoing election?
Well, I'm not here to assess that. I've just told you what is happening with the election.
Wait, what is your assessment of the ongoing election? Not trap. If I can't Obi no book. I give him that. God damn, what a classic answer. If to say Obi actually take a stance. Say, INEC, the current, the way things are going is good, is excellent, is that. They don't hold up against her. If he called a complaint 2027, say INEC, say, come. Then you say this man and his work are doing well. So he gets that. He understands that question is not just coming from ordinary crack reporters from just the street. No. It comes from a professional. They sent that guy. But Obi was able to, see it as it is. Yes, I'm not here to assess INEC. Come over. See, those when they thought the competition, Obi no, who they thought that in earlier on, than German, Obi is not in the play. Now they pay attention. These are the little things.
The observance is a major vote buying.
My God. So that was good. That was good. So eccentric. You see, you say we don't know your price, Abi. You are even cheap, Seth. You're very cheap. To flip you around to flip you over, it doesn't take anything. It takes even cheap. Maybe just put you for one nice house. Maybe just a flex. You and your next 2 generations, you go. you go do everything. You do passion worry. You go turn your hustle to the next level. These people. So anybody where they think say Obi is gone, Obi never start. You never understand what really how this game is really played. I say believe that these old men where they wear agbada, don't know what they do. It go be like it go shock now.
Hello and thank
again,
you for joining.
Again. Let me get this right.
My name is Peter.
Because when I talk, say that guy we ask that question should be made them find out. No be eccentric, just eccentric level, not pass that level. Na CTV, na broker, na bring this section give us. So what does that mean? Na Bola Tinubu's TV news be this. So agent everywhere, he knows. They get her down.
Hello and thank you for joining.
Let's see what. Okay, which one? Where we will go first?
Joining us on the Monday edition of Journalist Hangout.
Let's stay with your BDF first. They'll come out. They go say they go from house to house to campaign. That's what they are coming to say now. I hope I'm wrong. Yunusa slogan be that. They don't carry small money give them. They will call the time for news saying they go from house to house for not. Make him produce video where
now let's gauge the political fallout as voters in Peter Obi's
You can't tell us that they were going house to house
ward in Anambra State break ranks with the 2023 Labour Party presidential candidate and strike out in favour of the APC. The Anambra governorship election was supposed to reinforce Peter Obi's position as one of the most influential political voices in contemporary Nigeria and to mark his place on the political landscape ahead of the main event in 2026.
You could ask yourself, right? Yes, I understand saying now Yunus at the war interview now Obi, but you understand why are they taking out a segment to talk about Obi in an Anambra election, in an election whereby he said that everybody in brother for the election. Why are they taking out a segment? They are trying to prepare, and all the obedience who are asking this kind of question, who are like, what's going on? They are trying to, mold their mind to say, no, because Obi no they buy lots, right? So Obi is still in play. Yes, it's an expectation. So Charles' job is to act and devil advocate But no, it's just to control the narrative. It is better that this kind of question is coming from people like them than little small like me or eccentric who is his price to send Nigeria is already is in dollar, right? They won't allow us to, come and approach it from down. They give charge. Charge will say, "Oh, this is an election that was built to test Obi popularity, Obi commitment, da 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 da." Then UNISA will come. Say, "Hey, Obi was our player. We go from." I don't know, but that's what is that. More just listen anyway. But I'm pretty sure that's how they want to go.
But not only did his candidate, George Moalu, for whom he campaigned vigorously, lose, in what's been described as a near fatal political blow, Mr. Obi lost the polling booth in his own ward to the APC. So how much has this laid bare his political mortality? And whatever happened to the much talked about voting muscle of the seemingly invincible obedient movement? Who would have thought they'd be the ones shaping the electoral outcome in Anambra State?
Are you saying Obi is visionless?
Well, let's reflect now on the result of the governorship election in that bellwether southeastern state in an era of continuing vote buying, rising disinformation, and waning trust in politicians, the security agencies, and the Electoral Commission, INEC. And for this, I'm joined now in the studio by the national coordinator of the Obedient Movement Worldwide, Dr. Yunusa Tanko. Thank you very much indeed for coming in.
Thank you very much for having me.
So you had an Obedient Movement situation room set up to monitor the Anambra governorship election. I understand it was live across social media platforms. What was its assessment of that election?
Okay. First of all, I watched a lot of interviews this morning from your channels, and quite a lot of people were trying to peg the election on Peter Obi. Peter Obi was not on that ballot. Peter Obi was not on that ballot.
Yes,
he supported George Morgan, and he gave his support, and he went to 3 areas. And
okay, see, these people, I don't know, man. Like they are so bad at this job. On one hand, when people ask, say Obi is a one-man team, he doesn't produce leaders. Who are the people that will make up his cabinet? They will tell you, say, don't worry, don't give you all foolish excuses. If you cannot produce a leader at a state level, local government level, like, how do you expect us to see you as a president who is supposed to work with leaders at every canal? So the idea to come and they say, Obi is not on that paper, Obi is not on the ballot, Obi, what the fuck are you saying? Like, Charlie. We are finished. Done. Finito.
in terms of campaign and all, but it was the campaign and contest of George Mogalu, and which the people have to decide. Remember, all of this election hinges on an Anambarian to decide who becomes their governor. 17 years ago, Peter Obi ran an election against...
So what was the point of Peter Obi going to campaign on his behalf if your argument is that it was George Moalu's campaign, yes, and that Peter Obi's shine would not have rubbed off on him? I don't understand the point you're making.
Okay, now, for example, you know that even as his choice of a candidate, he came from the Abure leadership, okay? But Peter Obi was actually supporting the Nenadi leadership of the Labour Party. Despite that, he went ahead to give that support to show his honor for his party.
This guy, they need to be fired. God damn, they need to fire him. Eccentric will do a better job. If one knows they will buy him. God damn, Eccentric, you do better. This guy need to be fucking fired. Like, what the fuck are you saying? You are at this point of the game, you are still saying that there's a faction in the Labour Party. Even when Obi they talk say in a Labour Party candidate. Like, who the fuck is this guy? Oh my God. Labour Party is a socialist party, according to Eccentric. Obi, who is a capitalist, trying to run under the umbrella of the socialist party. And at a point whereby the only argument against Una from the other parties is that you cannot keep a party as one, but you come here in an attempt to just paint the obvious. You are digging yourself. Oh my God, this guy. Nah, man. Eccentric would do a better job.
That is what is honorable for any candidate.
So, in other words, it was a double-edged attempt by Peter Obi to try and lend his support. He was actually lending his support, but at the same time taking it away. Is that
not taking it away, but give it to him, give the support to George Moghalu and allowing the people to decide. So, and he gave him room to showcase his capacity as a candidate of the Labour Party.
But when
these people, who be this guy? You cannot be saying align the people to decide when you have not put in the work. Before I would beat my chest, say, let Eccentric decide. That means I don't go behind the door, get rent us for Eccentric for Bellevue. Then I will call the hit my chest. Let Eccentric decide. Because I know it's sure. You guys have not done any work. And professor come and talk say, they pay. If they pay the people, you are not saying they should go let the people do that. Now, did you prove them out? Ah, man, this guy, they need to fire this guy. If I am his campaign advisor, I will steer him towards socialism. Obi isn't a populist. None of his policy focus on the people. That's the whole point of going into Labour Party. That's why he's running on that Labour Party. Because Labour Party, it's known to be a socialist party, the People's Party, the Workers' Party, and that's how they model the whole Labour Party. That's why he's running under that party. So Obi is literally opposite socialist. So he is trying to, yes, you are spot on. The people who are supposed to be bridging that gap of who he really is and the platform that is really on are people who can see that obvious line and sharing towards that debate. This motherfucker, man. Oh, I don't talk out for since 2022. I say come. Make them pay me. I think that's because I'm so confident I'll do a better job than these motherfuckers. Say make I sell Obi. Konkoso that was not known on our social media echo space. I make sure the guy was talked about pretty much every day and every platform from Dr. Dameji to Naija Watch. I make sure he was a topic of discussion. I did that. They can't give me Obi representing a red meat. Chai. I will give her 1 million votes. Not be from internet. On ground, I will give him 1 million votes from where I'm sitting right now. Because it's so easy to say that motherfucker, man. Fucking easy. Fucking easy. Everything is just right there. All the ingredients. No, we need to work too much. The people are aging, looking for somebody that will come and finger them. Easy. Fucking who be this guy? Chai. Now challenge Precious that day. Say Precious, they tell me, you need to come here, they interview and talk, say, yeah, she didn't talk saying they go house from house, so no. I said not lie. You should come out and prove me wrong. Say I tell I say not lie. Nobody would go this time at age 2025. Where would they go from door to door that it will not amplify via social media? Nobody. That's what the Mandelas of this world do. The Chadekak of this world do. They call it a Princeton strategy. Call it strategies and shit. They go from door to door and you know one make it go viral. What's the point in 2025? It should prove me that I'm still waiting. Did they go conversing for vote? No, that's the point. That's what I thought. You didn't go converse with the vote, but they say may they let the people decide. Then when the people decide to go for who was there, who used to be there when it matters most, and offer them money, now they say yeah. Like, who are these people deceiving? Oh man, it's fucking crazy.
When you come out and you endorse somebody, it's a bit like what we just saw. I mean, it's another country, but in New York, where President Trump endorsed Cuomo, and Mamdani swept the board. I mean, it reflects badly on President Trump because your expectation is that somebody would.
Oh, Charles, hold it there. Charles, stick to. Even though I know you went to Ohio, you have been Chicago. Hold on. Trump supporting Cuomo already is not even normal because Trump is a Republican. Why Cuomo not Democrat? It is because the Democrat annihilated him, they disgraced him, they embarrassed him, throw him into the gutter. That Trump did that. It's actually a strategy, right? To gain support from the Republican angle, the establishment especially going forward. When Elon Musk and Trump come out at the same time, there's Cuomo. No, it's a fucking strategy towards the future. He doesn't rub on him at all. In fact, he gives him up prompts. It shows that he's the president of everyone. So, Charles, hold on there. Just stick to where you are being paid to stick. Just stay there like that.
The political weight and might of Trump or Peter Obi would be able to have some kind of impact. But not only the Labour Party come, I think it was fourth. The other party that, because we're not quite sure which party Peter Obi is in. I mean, he seems to straddle two parties. There's the ADC and there's the Labour Party.
It was clear that Peter Obi is a member of the Labour Party.
So, who, eccentric, who is going to pay for those 30,000 people? Which is, you are very fucking spot on. In Anambra, they need 30,000 people to actually knock on doors. In other words, I don't know the population of Anambra. Let me see. What's the population of Anambra saying? Population of Anambra. 6 million. In other words, one in every 6 people, Abi. Yeah, let's say 2 out of every 6 people. Good. So let's say two out of every 6 people you see on the street, one is an obedient agent. No, 2 is an obedient agent. 2 people in every 6 people you encounter on the streets, 2 are obedient. That's what you are saying. Who's going to pay them? These greedy people. They are greedy. They can't do it. And that's exactly what Republican did with Elon Musk, $250 million that he dropped 5 weeks in a row. Zuckerberg spent close to $300 million during the 2024 election. That's exactly what he did. Door to door, you have to sustain them on the street. Then you can eat your chest. Let the people decide. These guys.
The candidate he supported, George Marley, came fourth. The margin of defeat was so large, it represented a complete wipeout. LP, 10,576 votes. ADC, the other party he straddles, 8,208 votes, compared to APGA, which won 422,664 votes, and even the APC.
Which is a story of New York, right? So regardless of how Obi do reach, he cannot surpass the APGA because Anambra and APGA house, just as New York is a Democrat state. So
got 99,445 votes, and the YPP beat out both Labour and ADC to win 37,753. How do you account for that margin of defeat to Mr. Obi's support?
Okay.
How do you account for that to your obedient movement, especially given that, as I said, Mr. Obi campaigned vigorously for George Moalu, who was the LP candidate?
He campaigned on the basis of him being a Labour Party member, and he campaigned in 3 places.
Sorry, before campaign. I just saw what you are saying now, that they should tax the 1%. Who won't tax them? Tax 1% of the Labour Party members, or 10% of which people? Essentially. Who's that? Where is that 1% is going to come from? They're either going to come from obedient movement or the Labour Party.
Three places that he went to. And he did that to give Moghalu the opportunity to present himself to the people. And let me say this. 17 years ago, the same Peter Obi ran elections with the same Mr. Soludo and Ngige, and he beat them.
That was 17 years
17 years.
ago.
So now the same
world's
person,
moved on since then.
And I can tell you, put a Peter Obi on a ballot, which of course he has moved on, against such individuals at the moment, he will still defeat them. And I'm telling you, when I was in that particular election and I saw the kind of love the people show, but then they said it is their choice to make in who becomes their government.
Okay, let me
and at the same time, if you allow me to now, and at the same time, it is their choice to make the governor of their own state. They've seen the difference of how people who he has supported one way or the other also just left with us. So every individual have to showcase his own capacity to
I understand your attempt to rationalize what has happened.
Yes.
That's perfectly understandable. Yes. But let me put it another way. How large is the loss of Anambra State to Peter Obi and the obedient movement? Anambra State is, of course, Peter Obi's home state, which he governed for 8 years. How large is the loss of that state to him?
Do you also know the level of... Yes, I'm asking you, do you also know the number of population of registered voters in Anambra is 2.2 million point? And then at the end of it all, only 500 and something thousand decided to vote. That is almost like how many percent beyond? So there was a voters' apathy in trusted in the So as far as we are concerned, and Peter Obi is concerned, the
game of the government, of course, is to engineer voters' apathy. That's a winning strategy for the government in power. So it is now up to the opposition candidates to get to work, to implement eccentric strategy. Put 30,000 men and women on the street going from door to door and see if there's still going to be voter apathy. And who is this guy? The guy, they get confidence and they talk nonsense. There's voter apathy, there's voter apathy. That's a strategy from the government in power. You think that Tinubu go want may 40 million people come vote for 2027? Or 50 million, may 50 million vote, or may 100 million votes? No. Tinubu go work to make sure that only 10 million people vote. And out of that 10 million people, if 3 million people vote, 4 million people vote for now, 3 million vote for Obi, 3 million vote for Atiku, he don't win. It's a strategy. That's why you, as an opposition, you have no choice. You have no resources like this man in power. All you have is an organization skill, even though it still costs money, according to eccentric. That's your 1%. Put men and women on the street. Then you can come to the studio and say, let the people decide that they govern them. Who the fuck is this guy?
population that came out even to support this particular election is far, far less than when he even is running as a president. So
these are all attempts to rationalize.
No.
Yeah, but essentially, you are missing. This is a competition. Who is going to task them? I mean, all the Anambarians are not a member of the OBD or member of the Labour Party. So if you are pretty, I understand that you are calling it on how to bring socialism into play. But you don't forget that you're also seeing it from a one-party angle. So if you're saying put the party should tap to tax 1% Anambarian, what if that 1% are loyal to ABGA? If all of them, or 70% of them, if they are loyal to the opposition party, still not going to get you on him.
I'm being factual here.
I think my question to you is, doesn't the loss suggest a possible decline in Mr. Obi's influence and popularity in his home state of Anambra? Let me just finish the question, because many people are interpreting the APC's victory in Mr. Obi's stronghold as a major blow to his reputation and his ambitions, with some critics now questioning his viability as a presidential candidate in 2027.
And I'm justifying to you that when you look at the narrative of what was presented, the candidate of Peter Obi was not on the ballot. If he was on the ballot, this particular calculation wouldn't have even reared his head at all. Peter Obi is strongly being supported by his people at every point. And we like the fact that probably are assuming or saying it in this particular trajectory and saying the dynamics in Anambra election is quite different from anywhere.
Why after the election? I'm going to ask you the same question in a different way.
Yes.
Why after the election result in the Anambra governorship contest should people still be committed to Mr. Obi as a potential winning candidate when he could not even win the polling booth in his own ward?
Because in this case, he was not on the ballot. He was not running for governorship election. He is a candidate for presidential election, which the people have always said that as long as it is Peter Obi, it's 100%. They are not compromising. And if you can do a survey today, in that same election today, it will turn out to be 100% support for Mr. Peter Obi. And I give you an example. You could use Lagos as an example of how he got 100% of votes, and then at the same time, probably the voting that came to Gbadebo was different. And so many other states like that.
Yeah, but in 2023, a lot of people piggybacked off his popularity to get into the House of Us, I mean, the National Assembly,
and that, of course,
Assembly,
and all of them, some of them left. Some of them left, and that did not give this particular trust. So for them now, they are trusting that it is the...
If OT from another state can ride an obedient wave and become governor, una no get excuse for Anambra. Like, there's no excuse. What the heck are you getting? I don't understand what, I mean, it's fucking crazy.
Candidate of Peter Obi or nothing.
Right. Well, the APC, I'm sure you know this because you're very good with keeping track of what's going on politically. The APC has already capitalized on the loss, advising Mr. Obi to abandon his 2027 presidential ambition and saying that a leader who can't win his polling unit has no business leading the country. Don't you think that all that may weaken Mr. Obi's position within not just the Labour Party, but also the ADC, and potentially impact his ability to mobilize support for future elections?
That was the attempt right from the beginning, when we knew that they are going to monetize the process and giving so much money just to demean the candidacy of Mr. Peter Obi. But one thing is for sure, that it is good that they are assuming in that regard, because there's the different election here, presidential election and governorship election. If Mr. Peter Obi was running on a candidate of a presidency and such a thing happened, then you can hold him liable. But in this case, it is not the same. But many, of course, will want to use this opportunity to capitalize on it and demean his candidate. But I can tell you for sure, because I was in that election, even in the picture, you will see how people...
Of course, the job of Peter Obi's competitor is to capitalize on every move he makes, good or bad, and make the best out of it. What the fuck are you saying, my brother?
still run to him. And why would it also be on Peter Obi? Everybody talk about Peter Obi, Peter Obi. Was he the one running for election? No, he wasn't. But he gave his support to the candidate, which is honorable for him to have done. And I can tell you specifically that at any point in time, Mr. Peter Obi declared his political party that he will run for election, you will be amazed the kind of support that he will get. So it's not about Peter Obi. George Moghalu ran his race, and he lost his race. And we congratulate everybody that participated in that election.
Right.
But then the fact remains that Mr. Peter Obi is solidly on ground, and we are behind him 100% at any time, any day.
Well, his supporters, in fairness to you, his supporters on social media say that Mr. Obi does not rig elections in any way. Is it the official position of the obedient movement that the Anambra governorship election was rigged, even though much of the evidence seems to suggest the opposite?
It was heavily monetized, and that, of course, is buying of vote and rigging and intimidation. You can see within the last period in which Mr. Peter Obi was in Anambra, he went to about 7 places, all of them School of Nursing, and all of them focusing on his humanitarian gesture that he usually do. And within that period, he gave nothing less than almost 100 million naira to different nursing schools and all. And his thinking is that instead of me to carry this money to go and buy vote, which is the narrative he wants to change, because the idea of buying vote only gives you bad leaders, incapable leaders, incompetent leaders.
Indeed.
Those are, so he is not interested in buying vote. Rather, he will have used that particular money to build in Nigeria, not destroying it. Because what we are seeing as of today, they are destroying this country on a daily basis and making our democracy a shamble and a reflection of them. And some will even want to say that you can go ahead and now you can beat them in their game. How would you beat them in their game?
The only way they can buy vote and be successful at this is because you as an opposition are weak. Stop trying to blame the people. What have you done to make sure the people collect the money and save it for you, or turn the other way and not collect the money? Nothing. You dey jump from one platform, one TV to another that the people don't even know that you even exist. And you are, I mean, these people are fucking, well.
And that means that you must have stolen that humongous sum of money from the government coffers and then to give to the people which are supposed to give them good governance. And we in the obedient movement believe strongly that good governance and fairness, equity and justice must come to play. That is the narrative we want to put in place to build a new Nigeria, not this kind of thing that we are saying.
Well, I mean, you've, I suppose, formed some kind of sense of the elections now under a new INEC chairman, under a new, what's being seen as a new kind of electoral commission dispensation. What kind of truth about the state of the electoral process in Nigeria has the Anambra election revealed to you as you look ahead to other elections that are upcoming, as well as the big one in 2027?
Now, there will be a program of electoral reform tomorrow which we intend to attend and all. The idea is about electoral reform and punitive measures to those who give and to those who receive in terms of money. You see, of course, the law are existing, but the truth about it is that how well has it been implemented? It's not as if people did not see these people. You saw them, you know the process, and somebody must offer that particular money before it was given. In contemporary day life, in any democracy, you will not see people buying votes. They only hinge that democracy on, democracy based on objectivity, issue-based politics that will reflect in the hands of the people. And that is why we are battling with insecurity in Nigeria, where even international community are doubting our competency in terms of protecting the people. So because we have leverage on falsehood process that bring in candidates and leaders who does not have any business with governance.
Right. You mentioned the international community, which has focused attention recently on Nigeria. Let me get you to turn your attention for a moment to the current crisis between the US and Nigeria with regard to the alleged genocide against Christians in this country. What does that call into question for you, and how do you respond to that crisis?
When there are issues, every kinds of different groups may come into the country and make their own narration. We all are aware that a lot of people are being killed in Nigeria, irrespective of whether they are Christians or they are Muslims. But those who were able to bring it out to the public notice become the subject issue. But there's no doubt that Nigerians are being killed in their thousands, even on daily basis, even as we speak right now. So it will be very, very good that Nigerians government, who actually are the architect of this particular killing, should be responsible for it and make correction to it, and do not allow Nigeria to disintegrate based on religious and tribal lines. Because religion is very, very sentimental to the minds of Nigerian people.
Sensitive and divisive.
Very, very destructive. So you have to be careful as regards to how you attempt to deal with the issue. This killing must stop, either Christians or Muslims. And that is especially what Mr. Peter Obi has continuously to say. If we have a country that is already based on fairness, equity, and justice for all, most of these things wouldn't have been happening. And there's no time for anybody to be lying. Say the facts and let's deal with the issue collectively. But if we decide to cover it up, it will always come up, because there's so much record to show about some of the things that have happened from every part of this country. Right. Even innocent persons. Even if you decide that a lot of people are saying, America is coming to bomb Nigeria, would the bomb now differentiate whether it is Christian or a Muslim when it happens? No. So it can't happen. We must not allow it to happen. But the government of the day must take responsibility as quickly as possible.
Is there a balance between you as the opposition using this opportunity to have a go at the Nigerian government and the apparent disinformation coming from the fundamentalist Christian organizations in the US? How do you keep things sacrosanct without tipping into disinformation and the dangers that that brings?
The problem we have is that people tend to ignore issues as they happen. If we deal with it immediately, this cannot be an issue at the moment. But killings will take place and no action is being taken. And people feel that there is a direct attack on their own religion or on their own tribe. And that is how it is. So the decisiveness must be seen to have been taken by the government of the day, as it's happening in every part. There are areas that you do not even know. The kind of intimidation and claim that's taking place, we may not even know them. And they are happening in this country. And so maybe it's a wake-up call for the Nigerian government to know where they have failed the people in protecting them as enshrined in Chapter 2 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic.
Okay, just before we go, let me bring you back to Anambra State, which is really where our main focus was in this conversation. What is your assessment of the performance of the Electoral Commission, INEC? And are you encouraged going forward by the way they handled the election, uploaded things to IREV and all the rest of it?
We were monitoring, because we went to Anambra election based on two things. Yeah. To give support to Morgan, and at the same time to ensure that we put some of the activities of the obedient movement in place. I've been to 3 different places. I've been to Okuzo, and then I've been to Nnewi, I've been to Oka, and I've seen the large followership of our people who are on ground. And the result that we monitored was almost in sync with that of INEC. And that way, and INEC was able to give result immediately. We must give them credit for that particular. But what they have not been able to deal with the issue of vote buying and intimidation and also. And that is why we've been championing the cause that INEC must be unbundled into 3 places. We must have an enforcement commission, we must have an electoral commission, and we have a delineation commission. So the Electoral Act should be a panacea to this particular problem. When we unbundle INEC, those who are supposed to be responsible for election will be responsible for it. And those who will be involved in enforcement and dealing with these malfeasance that happen within the polling unit will be informed. And then the Delineation Commission will also be in charge of what. So for me, it is an idea that must be allowed to flourish to give more credence to our elections. That may help in building a synergy within belief and trust that Nigerians are ready for election, and may take away the apathy that we saw in Anambra. Like I said, 2.9 million people as against 500 and something is quite low for anybody to decide who become the governor of the state.
On that note, sir, I want to thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Yunusa Tanko is the National Coordinator of the Obedient Movement Worldwide. Good to see you.
Thank you very much.
That's it for this edition of Arise Prime Time. Join us again tomorrow. From me and the entire team here in Abuja, bye-bye and thank you for watching.
You're watching Arise, the world's standout news channel. Arise News, awards, and beyond.
The Tinubu administration embarks on a global media campaign, launching an international press engagement blitz to try to counter President Trump's threat of military action against Nigeria. The administration's efforts aim to clarify Nigeria's position and to showcase the government's dedication to defeating terrorism. Mr. Tinubu's team has been engaging not just with the global media, but with international partners, including, they say, the United States, but not limited to Washington, in an attempt to promote understanding and greater cooperation on counter-terrorism. So what are the key points from the Tinubu administration's messaging, and what has been the international community's response beyond taking note of that messaging? How much support has been expressed in favor of Nigeria? I'll be joined in the studio by the Special Advisor to President Tinubu on Media and Policy Communication, Daniel Bwala. Also on the program, the Anambra governorship election was supposed to reinforce Peter Obi's position as one of the most influential political voices in contemporary Nigeria, and to mark his place on the political landscape ahead of the main event in 2027. But not only did his candidate lose, in what's been described as a near-fatal political blow, Mr. Obi lost the polling booth in his own ward to the APC. So how much has this laid bare his political mortality? And whatever happened to the much talked about voting muscle of the seemingly invincible obedient movement? You would have thought they'd be the ones shaping the electoral outcome in Anambra State. Well, as we reflect on the result of the governorship election in that bellwether southeastern state, in an era of continuing vote buying, rising disinformation, and waning trust in politicians, the security agencies, and the Electoral Commission, INEC, I'll be joined in the studio by the National Coordinator of the Obedient Movement Worldwide, Dr. Yunusa Tanko. I'm Charles Enyegolu, and this is Arise Prime Time. Now, it's been described as an extraordinary moment in the history of Nigeria, one that's placed this country's diplomatic efforts on high alert as President Tinubu attempts to navigate a tense standoff with US President Donald Trump, who has threatened military action over alleged Christian persecution. The Tinubu administration is pulling out all the stops, summoning foreign diplomats and rallying international support to defend Nigeria's sovereignty in the face of a diplomatic firestorm from America. And in the face of that bombast, President Tinubu's aides have launched a global media blitz, emphasizing Nigeria's commitment to religious freedom and territorial integrity, whilst urging international allies to support the country's fight against terrorism, even as that intense American threat of overwhelming aggression still looms large over this country. Take a look at this government video about the international media engagement of one of President Tinubu's aides, Daniel Bwala.
There is no genocide against Christians in Nigeria, but there is insecurity that affects people of all religious and non-religious faith in Nigeria, for which the Christians are part of.
Insurgents, but only.
I personally, I have a feeling that in the next couple of days, they are going to have a sit down together, and then we will find a common front in this fight against insecurity.
The US president threatening to deploy American troops to your country. What is your nation's response, please, Daniel?
we try our best to downplay the rhetoric because we know.
Well, let's assess the effectiveness of the administration.
Why they just hype Boala unnecessarily before they even start the question? Is this to say that APC Charles is now with APC openly? This is not it's not show now, it's performance, not journalism anymore.
Administration's international media campaign, and for this I'm joined now in the studio by the special advisor to President Tinubu on media and policy communication, Daniel Boala. Good to see you, Daniel.
Thank you for having me. Good evening.
You've been doing quite a tryst around the world, haven't you?
Yeah, post-missionary journey. We still have some coming.
Right, so tell us what you've been doing to...
Anyway, Centric and the other two people, Blase will come back later. Get to get something done off air, offline. Thank you for your time, George, and the rest of you, and we'll come back again. I'll be back. This is I'll be back. I will be back today in the next few minutes or hours. Trust me. 30 minutes to an hour, I'll be here. So see you then, guys. Ciao, ciao.